Taking all the sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Open all the windows, let in all the light. You can pull the stars down, paint the perfect sky. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. Well, jump in, and we don't know where we'll end up, so you might as well begin. Memories you're making, you frame inside your heart. The middle of a nowhere, so somewhere you can start. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. Sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Life's what you make it. Life's what you make it. It's yours for the taking.
That was awesome. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Grand Prix Victory Banquet. My name is Molly Grojon, and I've had the privilege of serving as the Purdue Grand Prix president this past year. On behalf of the entire senior board, I would like to thank you all for coming tonight. I'm very grateful that we were able to facilitate a safe and successful Race 64 today. A year of planning has definitely paid off, and I am so excited to celebrate with you all tonight. Before I introduce the 2020-2021 Senior Board, I would like to take a look back at what we have accomplished this past year. With a relatively young team, their enthusiasm and passion for Grand Prix was evident throughout this past year. This team was determined to facilitate another successful Purdue Grand Prix, given this unprecedented time at Purdue. Today, nearly 1,000 people attended in person, and over hundreds of people tuned into our live stream to watch the 64th Purdue Grand Prix with the help of Purdue Hall of Music. After a beautiful sunny day, we could not be happier about how the race unfolded. It's important to note that we would not have been able to accomplish the task of putting on one of Purdue's oldest traditions without the hard work of one another. When you each look back 20 years from now, I want you all to remember the feeling of working as a team and as friends to accomplish something greater than yourself, especially during such a challenging time. Remember the feeling of being involved with a tradition that started in 1958 and has no end in sight. I am proud of every single person here tonight, and the accomplishments of all have been recognized. At this time, I would like to introduce our current senior board members that have been working tirelessly since this time last year. So I'd like to invite Anna Zielinski, our Director of Special Events, up to help with this. Senior board members, when your name is called, please come to the stage and stand in a line up here. Please hold all applause until the end. Ashley Porter, Director of Business. Russ Kleiner, Director of Administration. Matt Pisoni, Co-Director of Race. Max Beckemeyer, Co-Director of Race. Caitlin Capizzuto, Co-Director of Race. Alex Taylor, Director of Facilities. Tommy Gutwein, Co-Director of Sales. Jack Wagner, Co-Director of Sales. Sammy DeLay, Director of Public Relations. Maren Parker, Director of Productions. Drew Kellum, Director of Scoring. Dylan Mullenkamp, President's Assistant. And Anna Zolwinski, Director of Special Events. Please join me in giving them a round of applause for all their work. Awesome. You guys may take a seat. Thanks. I would also like to thank our advisors, Amanda Deering, Haley Oliver, Bailey Neff, Dave Beering, Brent Bible, Ethan Braden, and Martia King. They serve as the backbone of this organization, making sure that we move in the right direction with every passing year. While they may not be on campus all the time, they are always one phone call away and have worked to help us improve and grow the organization. We sincerely are appreciative of your guidance and time throughout this past year. All please join me in thanking our advisors for all of their hard work this past year. I would also like to thank our dedicated alumni with the Purdue Grand Prix Alumni Organization. You all have supported us throughout this past year wherever necessary. We appreciate your love for Purdue and for this great tradition. Thank you again. Please join me in thanking them. Finally, I would like to thank the participants for being part of the greatest spectacle in college racing. It takes extraordinary individuals to be a part of the Purdue Grand Prix. And this year, 44 teams registered for the race. These include veteran members that I've seen out at the track every day, and I feel so proud of all of you and all of your accomplishments through the years, and that we have experiences and memories that will last forever. Then, the younger members that we have. This year's race was fast and competitive, and I feel like the quality of the race is in great hands with these up-and-coming members. The event and race are all about you, and as an organization, we are so grateful for your sacrifices and dedication. And finally, I hope that all of the trials and tribulations of being participants in the race was worth it. At the end of the day, we hope that if nothing else, as an organization, we were able to provide the student body with a positive, educational, and most importantly, fun and safe event to be a part of. With all of this being said, and as many of you know, the Purdue Grand Prix Foundation prides itself in being able to reward approximately $10,000 in scholarships to deserving Purdue University students. This year, we were able to award 13 student scholarships with an additional scholarship awarded for the Queen program. Rowan, would you mind to stand up? Please join me in congratulating Rowan Waller on being selected as the Purdue Grand Prix Race 64 Queen. And tonight, I'm so excited to introduce Dr. Jay Ackridge. He serves Purdue University's Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and Diversity, a position he has held for just over 3 years. He leads the office responsible for overall academic strategy, faculty-related matters, teaching and learning, student life, enrollment management, engagement, and diversity and inclusion. Prior to his current position, Provost Ackridge served for nearly 10 years as Purdue's Glenn W. Sample Dean of Agriculture. He also has held a number of other positions at Purdue, including interim vice provost for engagement and professor of agricultural economics. Provost Ackridge was also a graduate student at Purdue, where he earned his master's and PhD in agricultural economics. We are honored to have Provost Ackridge join us tonight, so please join me in welcoming him. And we're going to ask you to stay for a few minutes after, if that's okay.
You bet. Thanks for making it all safe. Well, thanks very much, Molly. It's a real privilege to be here tonight. And before I go further, how about a big round of applause for Molly and her leadership this year? But congratulations to each and every one of you for successfully delivering the greatest spectacle in college racing, and especially during one of the most difficult years in Purdue history. I'm going to be brief tonight because you've got some pretty important things to get to here shortly. But it is really great to be with you. It's great to be with a group of actually in person after a year of Zoom meetings and Zoom events. And so thanks for joining us. And I know we've got some folks that are watching from live stream, so thank you for being here as well. As Molly sort of alluded to, I've been around this place a long time now, so it'll be 39 years in August. So I know a little bit about this tradition and its importance to our university, but a bit of a personal connection. My wife is also a Boilermaker, so she got her degrees, master's and bachelor's, College of Science, and was here from 78 to 82 as an undergraduate, and she was a member of the Owen Hall racing team at that time. So she was a timer, loved the experience. I guess while she was a timer, while she was a member of the team, she was the first women's group of women that they were invited to live in Owen. So it was all male dorm before then. But they switched from stopwatches to some kind of toggle system where you flipped the toggle switch every time the car completed a lap. But it was, like I said, it was important to her, and I guess the day of her race of her second year, she was taking the GRE exam, which was required for graduate school, and she talked about how she was really racing through the exam to make sure she could finish in time to get to the race so she could do her job at the race. So I think it said something about her priorities at the time and how important the race really was to her. Molly thanked a lot of people, and I certainly want to acknowledge some of those as well. Certainly the Grand Prix Foundation Board and the junior board members. I say thanks for all you did to make today possible. The Grand Prix advising team, they've been acknowledged. The sponsors, alumni, your financial support, your in-kind support, again, so critical to putting this event on. And Molly acknowledged the race teams, the track workers, and everybody who made today happen. A gorgeous day, an amazing race, again, at a crazy, crazy time for this campus. So thanks for all you did to make today possible. And of course, congratulations to our Grand Prix Queen and the winning racing team. As Molly said, this race started in 1958, so a long time ago. And that first race, as I understand it, the carts used lawnmower engines. It was sponsored by the Purdue Auto Club, an organization we don't have around this place anymore. As I understand it, the race that first year, the teams had to have at least 5 drivers, and each driver went for about 30 minutes. The race was about 2.5 hours, and the team that had the most laps, that completed the most laps, won the race. So a little bit different format than today. But one thing I didn't know until recently was that Popular Mechanics, national magazine, actually wrote a feature on the very first Grand Prix, and that article came out in September of 1958. And I got to share a little bit with you because it's kind of interesting, the glimpse it gives you on the very first race in 1958. The title of the article was The Grand Prix of the Lawnmower Racers, okay? That was the title. 20 student-made race cars spluttered, skidded, and swirled around a special 0.6 of a mile race course on parking lots and adjoining street just north of Purdue's new, at the time, co-recreational gymnasium. It was the Purdue Auto Club's first Grand Prix, and for more than 2,000 onlookers, it was a real ball. Here's some of the ways the article described the race. Worn-out tires were tossed away like stale donuts, and fan belts littered the pit area like confetti. Bumpers bent, drive shaft chains snapped, cotter pins sheared off, and axles broke. Indianapolis Speedway signals were used, but there were titillating variations. The Sigma Alpha Epsilon crew held up a board with a big X on it. The driver sailed blithely by. They chalked in on the board. The driver came in wondering what the X meant. Nobody seemed to know. So another driver passing his crew held up one hand. "What's that signal?" asked a crewman of a mate. "Beats the heck out of me," was the reply. "Let's let him go." And they did. So it kind of gives you a sense of what was going on. There's a lot more in the article, including a story about the team that was in the lead. They blow a tire, and they realize they'd left all their spare tires in the dorm room. So they sent somebody back for them. They came back with the tires, but they lost enough time. They did not win the race. But it's kind of impressive to think about coverage on the very first race of something that wasn't a tradition at the time, and to see what it's become today, this most important tradition at our university. These traditions are important. I mean, they do build a sense of community. They bring people together around their passions. They provide an entree point for new students to find this place and to engage in it in important ways. They create a sense of belonging and shared experience. And I don't need to tell any of you that. I mean, what you've been doing the last many weeks, getting ready for today, delivering this race, participating, competing in the race. I mean, I was there today, and I watched what was going on in the pits. And so, you're sitting there with 5 or 6 other people trying to solve a problem in real time under a tremendous amount of stress, trying to get that driver back out on the track. I mean, that's a shared experience you never forget, like my wife's experience in this race. And it's also a set of lessons that you'll take with you no matter where you go after you leave this place. And I think that's important as well. Traditions create a sense of pride in our university because they become part of who we are. And I just wanted to share something about that, just to put a little bit finer point on it. I was telling Molly earlier, there must have been an announcement about this event. It mentioned my name. And so a friend of mine, Mark Legan, contacted me. And Mark is somebody I've known from the College of Agriculture for many, many years. Turns out, what I didn't know about him, he was president of Grand Prix in 1982, the 25th anniversary of the race. So he wrote me a long email just talking about what Grand Prix meant to him. He'd started as a track worker, and again, he was president in his senior year. He got to know Jack Young, who was evidently the advisor at the time, very, very well, became very close friends. He was a mentor for Mark. They were, again, lifelong friends. And in fact, Mark was pallbearer at Mr. Young's funeral not so long ago. But Mark said this about Grand Prix. He said, "My point is that Grand Prix is more than a cart," and he gave me permission to read this. "My point is that Grand Prix is more than a kart race or a chance to blow off steam at the end of the semester. To me, Grand Prix will always showcase one of the best opportunities on campus for students to become involved, develop leadership skills that last a lifetime. It's also because of mentors like Jack Young that a Purdue education goes well beyond the classroom." And I can't say it any better than that. This idea of Grand Prix is an intimate part of Purdue education for so many of you that have been participants in it. And I don't want to sound too competitive, but well, maybe I do. I sort of bleed black and gold after 39 years here. But there's a reason IU riders are given their bikes at the Little 500, and at Purdue we build our machines. Okay. It's just a great example of problem-solving, team-building, STEM-based competitive event that's also a lot of fun. And it does speak to our identity. And of course, it's not just for engineers anymore, as you all know. It hasn't been for many, many years. You look at your board, members from the College of Agriculture, College of Engineering, the Polytechnic, College of Liberal Arts, School of Management, and I could keep going. So it's certainly something now that embraces the entire campus. And this idea of students helping students is so spot on. Okay, I think it reflects who we are as a campus. It certainly reflects the work you do to raise money for scholarships. You heard 13 of those this year. But I think this year, it just takes special prominence, because students helping students could also be a theme for how we navigated COVID-19 over the past 12 months or so. And I'm not sure you, me, any of us fully appreciate what you've accomplished since last August. And I always knock on wood. We still got a week to go plus finals, so we're getting there. But you look at this, 90% of our students chose to come back to campus for a residential learning experience. We had about 70% of classes were face-to-face or hybrid, had some face-to-face component. There's not a place that our scale that looks like that in terms of the amount of experiences they were trying to allow you for face-to-face opportunities in the classroom. The Protect Purdue pledge, you took it seriously. I mean, you had the discipline to follow the thing. I mean, and wearing a mask and staying socially distant and washing your hands all became habits. I mean, not fun, but something you did because it took that to protect this place. You've taken literally hundreds of thousands of COVID tests, to monitor this disease on the campus and help us manage it. You had to give up a lot. Student life has been fantastic about trying to create opportunities to be face-to-face, but you know how much you sacrificed, and including this race last year, was a perfect example. We suspended October break and spring break. I'm the provost that stole spring break. I'm going to live with that for a while. So, but some of you spent time in quarantine or isolation, and of course, everybody's just tired of it all. So pandemic fatigue is real. But you looked at all that and you got through it, and you found a way in the middle of the pandemic to deliver this particular event. And President Daniels talked about this today in his comments at the track. How did this work here when it didn't work so many places? A lot of universities chose to go 100% online right out of the gate. Others started residential and ended up having to flip to online because it just didn't work. Lots of folks didn't believe this place could stay in business in residential, deliver residential experience in the middle of all this. But, I'd suggest just like Grand Prix represents who we are as a campus, so does our response to this pandemic. It was April 21st. These dates always blow my mind because it seems like it's been forever ago. But 1 year ago, April 21st, 2020, President Daniels announced that we would be open for the fall. And he said, "It's a huge and daunting problem, but the Purdue way has always been to tackle problems, not hide from them." And that's exactly what we did. It's exactly what you did. You helped us tackle the problems that were presented by the pandemic, and you're the primary reason that we were able to remain open and deliver a residential experience. Not the one we wanted to, but the very best we could do, given the need to keep this campus and place safe. And I just can't tell you how impressed we are, how proud we are of all you've done. So maybe when it comes to the pandemic, we need to tweak your motto just a little bit. And maybe it's student helping students and Purdue. I can assure you that we're ever grateful for all that you've done to help us navigate this year. And I want to thank you, too, for bringing back the greatest spectacle in college racing. This year's race is going to become another Purdue legend. It just is. It's a story of how our students, through their persistence and their passion, managed to deliver one of this university's most cherished traditions in the face of a global pandemic. The easy path would have been to defer this race to 2022. It just would have, okay? But Purdue students don't take the easy path. You did all it took to hold this race safely and to keep this tradition alive. Congratulations again on an outstanding Grand Prix 64. Thanks for inviting me tonight. Let's get on with the awards. Boiler up and hail Purdue.
Thank you so much, Provost Akridge. We do have a gift for you.
Oh my goodness.
So in here is a Purdue Grand Prix Foundation milk jug,
Well,
and hope that you can always remember your time at Grand Prix
I will
going
definitely
forward.
do that.
Thank you so much.
My wife's going to be jealous. Thank you.
Please join me in thanking Provost Akridge again. Next, we'd like to invite up our race directors, Max, Matt, and Kate, to go and award our race awards.
Okay, so we're going to be presenting awards, and as you are recognized, please come up the stairs to your left to receive your awards. So from today's race 64, our 5th place team was cart number 43, representing the Purdue Society of Women Engineers, driven by Gabby Selvia.
Next up, we have our fourth place finishing team for this year. We have the number 23 cart representing ALP Racing, driven by Thomas Pop. Please come up if you're here.
Wait. They all look the same. They're just different sizes. In third place this year, we have the number 27 cart representing Honors College Racing, driven by Tyler Meyer. Gotta double check.
And in second place, cart number 31, representing Crawford Racing, driven by Brandon Crawford.
And last but not quite obviously not the least of our top 5 finishers, we have the first place team. We are presenting our first place trophy as well as the Hovde Award and Thomas L. Green Award. These awards are presented to the annual Grand Prix champion named in honor of past Purdue president Frederick Hovde and the Thomas L. Green Company. These awards go to the number 88 cart representing Cavalry Racing, driven by Jacob Petticord.
Hey, everyone's important.
Right after they take the picture. And then in addition to that, while you guys are up here, we have the Mechanical Achievement Award presented to the crew chief of the winning cart to recognize this important role. That goes to Arjun Subramaniam. Perfect. Congratulations.
Next up, we have our Best Engineered Cart Award, which is selected by the race committee to recognize the creative and innovative efforts of the cart and their design team. And this year, our recipient is P-Sweet Gold, cart number 44, for a number of elements, including their mechanized cart stand.
And next, we'll be giving our safety award out. This trophy goes to the kart team that exhibits the greatest commitment of innovation in kart safety, and it will go to HCRC 17 and 27. We had a recent rule change with Heim joints, and they were able to adapt to that better than most teams.
Next up, we have our Cotter Key Award. This award is presented by the race committee to the race team that endures the most mechanical frustration throughout the Grand Prix season. This award was difficult to judge this year, but luckily it became quite clear to us during the race today. So Crawford Racing number 31. We are guessing you guys weren't planning on spending half the race with your muffler barely attached. So. Just ask Jacob to come up for this one. Not the whole team.
Should we have him take the trophy back since this one is traveling trophy? Or wait, yeah.
No, this one, he does take it back, yes.
Next up is the Driscoll Lap Leader Award, and this trophy is presented each year to the driver that leads the most laps in the race. The award is in honor of Alan Driscoll, a former Grand Prix racer and successful competitor on the World Karting Association National Circuit. And this award also goes to Cavalry Racing's Jacob Petticord.
The Grand Prix Foundation presents the Mental Attitude Award to the team that best exemplifies sportsmanship and good conduct. And this year we had a team that exemplified all of that, plus they had an amazing track worker who was always on the run. So Windsor Racing, kart number 33, driven by Michaela Salmon.
All right, next up is a very special award we have. This is the Carol Becker Spirit of Competition Award. This is a traveling trophy that we present each year to a team that we feel embodies the traits of Carol Becker. Carol Becker was a pioneer in women's racing, finishing second in the 1976 race. After a tragic fatal accident in 1995, this traveling trophy was created by her racing friends to recognize the team that best personifies Carol's commitment to living every day to its fullest. So with that being said, we are proud to present the Carol Becker Spirit of Competition Award to the Purdue Society of Women Engineers team, kart number 44.
So our Rookie of the Year award is a traveling trophy, and it's presented to the rookie driver who finishes the most laps. This year, that would be Jacob Petticord of Cavalry Racing, kart number 88.
We still have one more for this too. Yeah, pole position.
Our next award is the Stoops Crew Award, which was created in memory of Michael Stoops, who was a former member of the AGR Grand Prix team, who was killed in a car accident, and the award is presented to the crew that displays the most teamwork and camaraderie. And this year, the recipients of the award are the Sig Chi Carts 9 and 99. I don't think they are in attendance, but we will make sure they get it.
All right, just a couple more awards to go. This one is one of our personal favorites. We have the Most Attractive Cart and Crew. It's a very fun one for us to award. We have the race committee presents this award to the team that is the most attractive cart and professional appearance. Professional appearance being the key word in this one. We would like to award this to Boiler Catholics number 52 for the fancy quarter zips they always wore. I'd also like to mention the clean white cart they had with Jesus Take the Wheel branded on the side of the firewall.
A personal favorite.
So the Thornton Pole Position Award is named in honor of Richard P. Thornton. This traveling trophy is presented to the fastest qualifying driver. Thornton was the executive director of the Purdue Alumni Foundation during Grand Prix's earliest years, and it goes to Jacob Pettycourt of Cavalry Racing, cart number 88.
Our final award tonight is the Service Award. The award is awarded annually by the Purdue Grand Prix Foundation to the person who exhibits deep personal concern and gives unselfishly of his or her time for the betterment of Grand Prix as a whole. This year, as a senior board, there was one member who stuck out to us, and we are so excited to present our current Director of Administration as well as incoming Race 65 President Russ Kleiner with the award. Yes. His award has already been presented to him, so we're just going to pose with him instead. Close enough. All right. Thank you all for a great race this year. And now, back to Anna for more program recognitions. Jesus. I'm close.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anna Zawinski, and I am the current Director of Special Events for the Grand Prix Foundation. Congratulations to all of our awardees this evening. Tonight, I'd like to take a moment to recognize two very important contributors to the foundation. First, I'd like to thank our junior board. The Grand Prix Junior Board, composed of 20 dedicated, passionate students, has played an extremely important role in the planning and execution of Race 64. Throughout the fall, members of our junior board helped in the initial planning stages of the race and served on one of 3 committees dedicated to race, business, or promotions. This spring, the junior board has helped out at numerous foundation events, from practices, qualifications, and of course, race day. We are ever grateful for our junior board members, and we can't thank them enough for their dedication to the Grand Prix Foundation over the past year. We hope that they're tuning in virtually, so let's give them a big round of applause for their work this year. We'd also like to thank our 2 presenting sponsors, Aptive and Purdue for Life Foundation, for their support of Race 64. Because of their generosity, we were able to host the race this year for hundreds of Purdue students in person and hundreds more online. To show our appreciation, please join us in recognizing their contributions to the Purdue community.
If you're a graduate, friend, student, or simply a fan of Purdue University, you're part of our family. The Purdue for Life Foundation is the home of the John Purdue Club, the President's Council, and engagement and fundraising activities for the university. We're here to help you stay connected, get involved, and give back. Take your next giant leap as a Boilermaker by visiting PurdueForLife.org. Boiler up and hail Purdue.
How do you change the way the world moves? Change course. Aptiv is engineering the brain and the nervous system to bring the future of mobility to life with advanced computing platforms and smart vehicle architecture, taking you from point A to point B and every point in between. We are Aptiv, and we're moving mobility forward.
Last but certainly not least, we'd like to thank all of our seniors on Senior Board this year for their continuous commitment and dedication to the Grand Prix Foundation. To show our appreciation, we'd like to invite a special guest from the Purdue Grand Prix Alumni Organization to say a few words.
On behalf of the Purdue Grand Prix Alumni Organization, we want to give congratulations for a successful completion of the Purdue Grand Prix Race 64, the greatest spectacle in college racing. To all of you who were part of Race 64, your perseverance, hard work, leadership, strength of character, and just plain grit brought you all this victory. Our tradition as alumni is to honor graduating senior boards with a Purdue Grand Prix alumni gift as they go from the racetrack bridge to a lifetime adventure as Grand Prix alumni. At this time, we wish to honor Thomas Gutwein, Co-Director of Sales, also Marin Parker, Director of Productions, Matt Pizzoni, Co-Director of Race, Max Beckemeyer, Co-Director of Race, and Alex Taylor, Director of Facilities. Congratulations on becoming our future alumni. And we would also like to honor our Grand Prix President, Molly Grojon, for leading the Race 64 to an incredible comeback and victory. And at this time, we have a gift for Molly, but also I have Purdue Grand Prix Alumni Organization President Dave Furman here, who would like to say a few words to Molly.
Molly, from one president to another, you did a heck of a job today. Your crew did a great job. You're coming out of the darkest time for Purdue Grand Prix. You've come through with flying colors. You need to be proud of what you did. And you set a high bar for the students in the following years. So at some point, Bonnie will get this book to you, but it's hardcover of the Purdue Grand Prix history because you've written your own chapter in it. And we will see you hopefully on campus, and the junior board members will see you next year.
Thank you to all the participants this year. Stay connected to Grand Prix and keep in touch. Purdue for life, Purdue Grand Prix alumni for life, and congratulations on Race 64. And we'll see you at Race 65, especially for the alumni race. Thank you so much.
Well, please join me in thanking our Purdue Grand Prix Alumni Organization once again for their support this past year. Well, after a year of unprecedented challenges, we were just so thrilled to facilitate Race 64 while growing closer as a team. This year marks a celebration for all we have had to overcome as a team, thanks to the support that you have given one another. With next year being the 61st anniversary of this incredible race, we have an amazing opportunity to continue the tradition that is the greatest spectacle in college racing. Thank you all for attending. We look forward to seeing you next year. Boiler up and hail Purdue.